Welcome to Dental All Stars. I'm Alex Nottingham, founder and CEO of All Star Dental Academy. And with me is Robyn Reis, director of All Star Hiring Service. And our topic is onboarding pitfalls. Please welcome Robyn Reis.
Thanks, Alex. Always good to be here with you.
And we're so happy to have you, our hiring guru, out there hiring for dentistry, helping dental offices hire for an office, hygiene, assisting. And every time I'm talking to you, you're always on a waiting list. So that's a whole nother can of worms. It's
Lots of people
popular.
are hiring.
They're
That's why.
hiring. They all
That's
want to
why.
work with your service. So
Yeah.
for those that are
Yeah.
interested in help with hiring, you can go to allstardentalacademy.com/hiring and learn more about helping you hire. So our topic, onboarding pitfalls. We are pretty good at hiring. We get them to the office. They find a good hire, but we want to make sure that they stay. And that's the beauty of onboarding. So tell me about this process, what onboarding is, what are the pitfalls, and how do we resolve it? That's our topic of today for our podcast. Tell me.
Awesome. Well, as you said, one of the key things that I think our hiring team does really well is weeding through all the resumes and finding those people that really align with the vision and values of the practice. Now, once that person says yes, I want to join your team, and they do all of the paperwork and they start the first day, it really is so important to have a structured onboarding program, meaning how do we bring this new person that might have a lot of experience, might have no experience, how do we blend them into our team pretty quickly? So there are, of course, 4 stages of team development. There are the universal behaviors that we want to pay attention to. We also want to know how well we did on the front end of setting the expectations of what this person is going to be doing and what we expect of them to do from a performance standpoint. In addition to that, it's the behaviors that go with that. So having a structured onboarding program is so important for the long-term success of this team member to stick. Now, you and I, Alex, have talked about, the 5 steps of hiring and what that all means. We've talked about the statistics that are out there. And we know that 69% of employees that have been polled by the Gallup organization report that if they had a structured onboarding program, they are likely to stay 3 years or longer with that organization. And the reason why is because it really answers the internal questions the applicant is asking themselves. Did I make the right decision? They're probably already employed somewhere else, or maybe they're not, but did I make the right decision? Did the hiring give me all the information I needed to say yes to this position? Do I align with this team and the people that I'm going to be working with? Do I know who I need to ask if I have questions? Am I clear as far as task and duties, responsibilities? And third would be, do I have opportunity to grow and learn? No one really makes a jump for a position to go laterally or behind, right? They most don't want less duties. They want more growth. They want more opportunity. And a lot of applicants that we talk to, that's one of the reasons that's prompting them to look is because, gosh, I kind of hit the ceiling here. There's really nowhere for me to go. I've learned all I can learn, and I'm anxious. I'm hungry. I want to learn more information. So knowing that an onboarding program really is answering those unspoken questions is critical to the long-term success of this person. So I heard it recently in a program that I attended that there were really 3 ways to look at training or education or engagement. And that is, first, you're providing the information. That's the onboarding program. Here's your job duties. Here's your job description. Here's where you're going to put your things. Here's who you're going to work with, all of that. So that's data. That's information. Then the stage is implementation. So now that they've gotten all that information, now they can start to implement what they're learning. That's where your 30, your 60, your 90-day check-ins come in. And those are your formal ones where you actually do have a score sheet or a job description. You're checking off, okay, what are the essential job duties? How quickly is this person mastering that? And what are they looking forward to? So you're always giving them that future focus. Ooh, once I master these technical pieces, then I'm going to get to learn how to do that. And that's that future focus, wanting them to learn more and be engaged. So you have that implementation. And then the last part of that process, that onboarding process, is really about integration or application of the information they've already learned. So information, implementation, integration. And that really, I think, describes very, very well what an onboarding program can look like. And most practices fall short of that, of having some kind of structure. It's pretty much, oh, you have 10 years experience. Great. Here, have a seat. This is where, the trays are. These are the instruments. You'll know how to put the trays together. You know what you're doing. We're just going to let you kind of figure it out. That is not onboarding. So we want to make sure that practices do have a training mentor, buddy, somebody that this new hire can go to and ask the questions. We certainly don't want them, standing around wondering and being afraid to ask questions of the doctor or anybody else, but having that training person, that go-to contact that they can lean on to say, okay, as I slowly immerse myself into this team and this new environment, I want to know when I'm not clear, when I'm confused, when I have to wonder what I do next, who can I go to? So I think that's goes hand in hand with the onboarding, is having that training, that mentor, that this person can go to, and then sitting down on a regular basis and saying, what's working well? Where do you find that you're really, fitting in? Where does the work really resonate with you? And then what challenges you? What are you not familiar with? What's new to you? What technology might have you not used before? Things like that. Just, how's it going? Where are the challenges? Where can we focus more training on? And then as you move for that 30, 60, 90 time frame, you have a running list of things that they've accomplished, things that they haven't been introduced to yet, and then of course, things that they're slowly but surely mastering.
I find invariably, and I know this is a study that the American Dental Association came out with, or quote, that staff-related issues are the number one stressor for dental practices. Dentists
Absolutely.
don't want to deal. That's the worst, is working with the team. And so certainly the hiring service that you provide helps get the patient to, or rather the team member, to the office. And I remember we also did a webinar, we did a podcast on recruitment versus hiring. That recruitment means to bring to their cause. We're always recruiting new entrepreneurs to our business, as well as new dentists to be part of the movement that is All-Star Dental Academy. So it's recruitment, not necessarily the tactic. So you're kind of going in the stages that you got to hire properly. Now that they're here, you get to onboarding. And onboarding, we saw that typically what an office will do is throw them to the wolves, or throw them in the fire and have them figure it out. My
Absolutely. Yeah.
my
Sit in the
wife
seat and
Heather,
you'll figure it out. Right.
when she worked for my dad's office years ago, she was surprised because she came from Bloomingdale's and they had a structure for everything. And then when she came to the office, it's like, here, picks up the phone, listen to the phone, like call. But obviously at All Star, we know what the costs are when you don't answer the phone properly, how much money you lose. We know the Ritz-Carlton will not let you touch the phone without 90 days of phone training, because they know, like in dentistry, it's costing. If you saw my webinar, Dental Practice Excellence, I talk about how you're losing $10,000 minimum a month just from poor phone skills. So we want to make sure, and to your point, besides, there are a couple issues we want to see. We want to retain the hire. That's the first step. Second step, we want to make sure that they're very productive and efficient in the practice, and they stay and they make a difference. And speaking of which, I remember Uncle Jay's quote where he says, well, why should I train team if I'm not sure they're going to stay? So it's the quote is, what if I train them and they leave? Or what if I don't train them and they stay? And then if they do leave, but either way, it's costing you money. So the point here is we want to be strategic. Hiring is important. Then we want to retain them, have a very robust onboarding process. Part of that's going to be clinical in nature or the position in nature. Part of it's going to be phone skills, scheduling, customer service is what our online membership program teaches offices on that. And then it's a little outside the scope of our discussion. After you get past onboarding, it's comprehensive training. Always training your team, creating that great environment. Maybe you go to a event. We just did our Practice Growth Summit, and you were one of our speakers. We had a blast there, and the
We did.
teams are just drinking the Kool-Aid and having a great time. Said, "Oh, I'm so happy to be part of this dental office and All Star Dental Academy. We're so happy to be part of All Star Dental Academy. Kumbaya, everybody's happy." And that is, we're learning, we're growing, we create a culture that people want to be part of that. And that's why, back to our podcast we did, is we're creating a movement in our dental practice. We're creating a movement here at Ulster Dental Academy to recruit people to our cause, not that they're widgets. So we have to think strategically of what we're looking to do. And I love this
Absolutely.
point of onboarding. That's a critical step from the hiring process to the practice.
And you described, Alex, a lot about the culture, the energy, the feeling, the environment, and that does not happen by chance. That definitely takes commitment, culture building, intention to say, this is who we are, this is what we represent, this is what we believe in, right? It's our belief system really that aligns. And that's also a huge part of the recruiting process. Recruiting versus hiring. Recruitment is really the message you're sending out. Who are you? What are you about? Who are you? What do you represent? What are your beliefs? What are your values? And the culture is really a culmination of everything you do. How you answer the phone, the uniforms you wear, your marketing, the new patient experience, how you answer the phone, like all of that, that's building an inclusive culture. And people are attracted to that. So not only from a patient standpoint, but also from a team member standpoint. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, is we do have practices we work with. When we post a position, we get flooded with resumes. And the reason being is because this practice has such a great reputation in the community that people want to work there. They are sending in their resumes. And sometimes even when there's no position posted, they're saying, please let me know if I really want to work there. Please let me know if you have an opening so I can apply. So that again gives us, great joy to work with practices that once we post a position, man, we have a flood of people to choose from, because these are people that are yearning for this type of culture, this type of environment, this type of community that they want to be a part of. And maybe it's lacking where they are right now. Not to say that, that practice is doing anything wrong. It's just there's no alignment. There's no connection. And if anything I've learned about dentistry in my 26 plus years, it is about the community. It really is surrounding yourself with people that you can learn and grow from. And a good mentor of mine once said, we grow together in our similarities. I'm sorry, we come together in our similarities, but we grow together in our differences. So it
Mm.
is everybody bringing different experience and talents and strengths, even our own all-star team. We are as effective as we are because everybody brings a little bit something different to the table.
Yeah, I
And
love when
that's,
you say that. Just
yeah,
today, Heather was walking by and saying, "Man, I'm so glad you're visionary. I don't want to do that. It's nice to get the
right.
praise once in a while, but I don't want to deal with having to look at the numbers and having to have, tough conversations and having to do all that. Like, it's a lot, but I
It
wouldn't want to
is.
do what she does, and she loves it. No, and very few want to do what you do, which is lead a
That's so
department that's
true.
getting ghosted. And oh, they ghosted me again. Great. But you and Jackie, your right-hand woman, I mean, you guys just love. I get my heart just opens when I think about that. Just love what you do with your team and with the doctors. And I think, yeah, that is something that's wonderful about All Star that we're grateful for. And I like what you said. It doesn't happen by chance. I'll often say I'm lucky because I think luck. You know that the definition of luck. preparation meets opportunity. And that's just not like a cliche. It's actually researched from the book Outliers, that you put in the 10,000 hours, and then when the opportunity comes, you merge it. So there is some chance, meaning you have to be with the right people, but you have to be putting that out there for a long time and have the skills where people will follow and says, okay, you're a good visionary, you have your strengths and weaknesses, and you're a good hiring, service director. Everybody has their strengths, and we work together. Just as a note, by the way, for the listeners, we'll do one later, a podcast. But Robyn, she can do a lot of things, not just hiring. She led at the Practice Growth Summit phone skills and communication program with Larry Gazzard, our head instructor. We'll do a podcast about that. Which, again, communication very important with respect to hiring and in terms of culture and so on. So it's just nice when that happens. And as I'm listening to what you're saying, it's so great. And as we're all listening, right? When we're having these conversations, listeners, it's not just for you. This is for us too. We're learning as well, is to reflect on what we created. But the point what Robyn's saying is so true. It doesn't happen by chance. You're not getting lucky, because if you are lucky, it's going to go away, because you have to know why it happened and keep reinforcing. I remember, like yesterday in the other room, I was having a conversation with you and you were saying, Alex, this is why I left other businesses that I work for or other companies, and this is why I want to be here. And this is what I took that to heart. And with Eric, our president of coaching, I spoke to him today about one of those issues. And I said, I take to heart why our team wants to be here. The same as you're listening, take to heart what your team members want and why they left and why they came to you, why your patients left and came to you. So it takes intention, not luck, that we have to continue to be reinforcing these skills. And lastly, it's you have to put your money where your mouth is. You want a great culture. It's going to be leadership. Your ego has to be subverted. You have to be able to willing to. Our integrator was surprised when she gives me advice and I go read the book and I do it because I want to get better. I'll do the best that I can with what I got, and I'm going to keep working at it. And I think she appreciates that. We all, as a company, do that. And I think that the dentists, the leaders, the practice owners have to set that intention and then do what it takes. Follow the process. Have, like you said before, the right people around you, mentors. Go to the right events. We come to our events. We're all about that. We're all about being congruent and supporting the system and doing it over and over again. With the help of our people, our dentists and our participants and team members. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And what came to mind too, as you were just talking, is not only everything you just listed, but also asking the right questions and being able to be humble enough for you to say, oh, this is feedback I'm getting. She's giving it to me because she cares about me.
Yep.
And it's from a place of value and love, and not from a place of ill intent. So that feedback, will come across a different way if the intentions behind it aren't where they need to be. So I love the fact, and yes, Shelley has great feedback, and you are a leader that allows different people to look through different lenses and give you the best feedback to make you a better leader. So, and that happens in dental practices too. And just to talk, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's interesting is dentists will often say to us, right, Robyn, I want my team to be proactive. I want them to love the business. Yeah, but if you're not giving them the power and you're not empowering them to do it, they won't. If they don't feel it's theirs, they're not going to do that. So we always got to look within what you're creating. So go ahead to that point, Robyn.
Well, and how do you empower someone? Well, they have to trust you, and they have to feel safe. If they make a mistake, that you're not going to fire them. Right. And a lot of team members don't feel that. So they aren't empowered. And so they will always stand behind, I'm going to ask a question. I'm not going to take the initiative. I'm not going to be proactive because they don't feel safe and they don't feel trusted. And that's, again, part of the culture that you get to work on.
What also jumps out to me, Robyn, is coaching. I just have to say it. I'm listening to you. Like I say, coaching is one of the fastest ways to grow your business. finding a good coach or
Agreed.
mentor. The more people, but it's nice to have somebody outside your business. And again, you can see coaches and speakers at events. It's good to have your own business coach or dental coach. We're talking about ultimately coming back to the issue of onboarding is we're bringing them in. We have to have systems in place that are constantly improving, that they're onboarded properly, they stay, because we just spend a lot of time and effort to get them to be hired. And
Right.
then we want to keep imbuing in them comprehensive training. This is our competitive advantage, our culture. We're constantly making deposits into the business. Yeah, I remember something that Eric, our president of coaching, talked about,
Yep.
making deposits before you make withdrawals, making deposits into your business. Coaching is another mechanism that we talk about. Just to review, repetition is a mother of skill. Every practice, every business follows 5 steps: clarity of vision, the right team that supports your vision, training, ongoing training, onboarding, comprehensive training, coaching, okay, and then the mastermind effect, which can be a formal mastermind or events or groups in order to compare with other like-minded people that are doing the things that you're doing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So always come back to
Absolutely.
basics.
Indeed. And that also brings up, what our hiring team is all about, and the intention that we spend to hire people that have sat in the seat in a dental practice, because they know what it's like. They've experienced it. They've lived it. We have tried it in different ways in the evolution of the hiring team. We tried to hire people that were really good at hiring, but had no dental experience. Didn't work.
Yeah, they don't
We
have the
tried the
empathy. They don't
opposite.
have that I know
Right.
where you're, and that's so key is that the other people know where you're coming from. They sat there. They can resonate with respect to that.
Right. And it's
Who
not just having dental experience. We tried that too, right? We
Oh,
tried
okay.
people, oh yeah, of course
Gotta
they
have
worked in
both.
practice. They weren't part of the interviewing process in their former locations or things like that. So then they didn't understand the dynamic of and the finesse that is required in recruitment and hiring. So we finally found the right formula, and we've been very, very fortunate and blessed to have people that not only have the clinical and the administrative experience, but also have been involved in the interviewing, the hiring, the terminating, and things like that. So we really bring a nice blend to the team, which I think is really the magic sauce that helps our team find the right people for the clients that we work with.
So, Robyn, who would be a good candidate? Or I'm listening and I need help hiring. Who would be a good candidate for the hiring service? And how does it work? And how do I get started if I'm interested?
Great question. I would say who would be a candidate is any dental practice that is struggling to find the time to review resumes, interview people, and deal with the ghosting and the no-shows. So really any practice on the planet that is looking to hire somebody that doesn't have the time or the resources to devote to do all the screening, do the calls, do the Zoom interviews, do the in-person interviews.
Well,
Um,
and why would I think a common question for us frugal dentists, if I were a dentist, I'd be very frugal, right? I'll just do it myself. Is that recommended, or is there a benefit to having an outside service to help with that?
Nobody knows your practice better than you. And I am of the firm belief is where's your time best spent? Where's your
True.
office manager's time best spent? Is it patient care, following up on insurance claims, making sure, financial agreements are done? Or is it spent weeding through Indeed or posting on Facebook or
True.
doing other things to try and find a team member for your practice? I'm going to go ahead and answer that question. And I'm going to say, yeah, your time is best spent with your patients and in your
Right.
business. Allowing a hiring service like ours that has the experience that has done all the homework. We don't have long-term contracts. We don't take a percentage of the salary. We truly work on an hourly basis. Any time that we spend on your project, we track, we document, we share with you who we've talked to, we share with you the results, and what we can accomplish in 1 hour is typically a heck of a lot more than an office manager who's trying to check out a patient, answer a team member question, respond
Yeah.
to the doctor, answer the phone, make an appointment, that kind of thing. You get the idea.
Yeah.
um,
Uh,
so
what I'm thinking about is the one thing is the concept of when you look at it, most practices are about 1 million to 2 million, somewhere in that ballpark. But you're running $1 million company, and if you start to break it down, not how much maybe you're making, although that's one thing. The dentist or even your team is, oh, my office manager, it's worth her time, but it's a question of how much you're producing in this practice and taking it away from something that isn't your forte.
right.
We have to do that. I
Specialty. Yeah.
remember it was not Alan, Tim Twig said, "You don't want to step over dollars to get pennies." So keeping
Right.
that perspective in mind is
Right.
really critical. It's also nice the professionalism as well. This is what I was going to remember. This is what I remembered. I remember when we started the hiring service, I don't know, like 6 7 years ago. We used to do a flat fee, and
Yes,
the
we
problem
did.
was, well, I said, "Oh, it was nice for the clients because they can stop whenever they want." And your
Right.
response was, "No, it's that I can let them go whenever I want. I don't want to be stuck with that client that isn't good." Because, you were nice about the intro here with who's it for. It's for anybody, but there are doctors that if you're not going to allow the process to take hold or it's a toxic environment, we won't work with doctors like that because look, we have great reviews online and we do that because we under promise over deliver and we're very careful we work with. We want to take care of the dentists that need the help, that are welcoming the help, um, not just anyone. So just
And
wanted
that's
to put that
true,
out
and I'm
there.
glad you brought that up because that is somewhat of a barrier that we sometimes have to deal with is doctors that are needing the help that don't have the time, but then impede the process because they're
Right.
trying to inject certain things that we know aren't going to work or they're not we haven't built that trust or that connection with them to allow us to do what we do best. And sometimes I get it. People, it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go of your old beliefs or hard to let go of your old systems of how you used to recruit. And let me tell you, after 2020, yeah, all bets are off. The old way or the normal way of recruiting and hiring is completely out the window. We've had to re engineer everything. And we're going to continue to face a crisis in the dental industry.
And I'll say
Um,
this last point, Robin,
yeah,
as an attorney too, it's nice having a separation between the potential hire and the office, just in case something was done inappropriately or what have you. There's less conflicts. It's always nice. So,
a-
Robyn Reis,
absolutely.
yes, I just want to say, Director of Hiring Service, thank you so much for being on the program and joining us as always. And remember, for those that are listening, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube.
Follow us.
Share all over. Follow us. Share with your
Follow us. You're
friends.
going to learn a lot. You're going to
You
get a lot of
are.
information.
Yeah, when you're driving, when you're watching,
Right.
listen, learn. Got some great content for you. And until we meet again, go out there and be an all
An
star.
all star.